Hello there, good morning, and welcome to the Star Breakfast News. Ahead in this morning's bulletin, international relations expert Vladimir Nchidanso accuses Cocoa Board CEO of attempting to jeopardize Ghana's relationship with Russia following recent comments that Wagner is behind the increasing smuggling rate of cocoa beans from the country.
If you are a citizen and a high-ranking of citizen like that and you try to jolt the relationship between two countries, it's not the proper channel. I don't think this is the proper way to go about it, if it is true.
Also coming up in the bulletin, political analyst and senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast lashes out at lesser-known parties filing to contest the December polls.
Dr. Baumia, whenever he speaks, he's attacking Mr. Muhammad, then it means that is his main target. You can realize that as long as these political parties don't have any structures in place, they're just wasting their time and their little resources.
And later in the bulletin,
That employed Manamidu, who then referred him as mother suspect of corruption. This president does not know that his administration is not only the most corrupt in Ghana, but his administration is also the administration that has mismanaged Ghana's resources.
well, that was NDC ridiculing President Akufo-Addo's claim of deliberate attempts by critics to label him corrupt, insisting that he is the most corrupt leader in the nation's history. We have details coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM, Star News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
And back in the studio, my name is Ekow. Boakye. Let's do the stories now. International relations expert Vladimir Nchidanso says recent comments by Cocoa Board CEO attributing the increased smuggling of cocoa beans to activities of Russian private military group Wagner is one that could jeopardize the relationship between the two countries. Joseph Edu bemoaned what he says is a growing trend of smuggling in recent weeks. He pinned the growing smuggling trend to Russia, who he says can't access the European markets, but the Dean of the Ghana Armed Forces Staff College, Vladimir Nchidanso, disagrees.
I'm completely overwhelmed with surprise because, one, this is very impossible. Wagner is not in Cote d'Ivoire, they are not in Togo, they are not in Ghana, but in Burkina. We have evidence that they are in Burkina, and it will be very, very difficult for me to find a situation they can smuggle cocoa from the southern part of Ghana across to the border of Burkina, into Burkina, and into Russia. So I don't think it is proper to say that this is the case, and I don't think that is the case. Even if it is the case, I don't think the proper channel is being used to address the issue. Putting it in the public domain and accusing Wagner of smuggling our cocoa will not solve the problem. In such a circumstance, normally what you do is to report to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who would then, with the evidence, accost the ambassador of Russia and complain to the ambassador. And if you are a citizen and a high-ranking of citizen like that and you try to jolt the relationship between two countries, it's not the proper channel. I don't think this is the proper way to go about it, if it is true.
Well, Vladimir Nchidanso also expects the Russian authorities to formally respond to the unfortunate claims of the Cocoa Board CEO.
Obviously, the Russians are going to be very angry. I can imagine that by tomorrow or the next, the Russian ambassador here will complain to our Minister of Foreign Affairs. I have no doubt that is what they would do. They will complain because there must be a shred of evidence, and that Mr. Edu didn't have to do that. It is the minister who has a right, one way or the other, if we want to sustain the relationship, to complain to the Russian ambassador. And I suspect that by tomorrow, the Russians will react, either by officially denying it or responding through our foreign ministry.
So that was Vladimir Danso, who is the Dean of the Ghana Armed Forces Staff College, reacting to some claims by Cocoa Board CEO Joseph Edu. But away from that, political analyst and senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Jonathan Asante Otre, has lashed out at lesser-known parties in the country that are filing to contest the December polls. According to him, they are just wasting their time and resources since they won't make any impact in the upcoming December 7 polls. This comes after the Electoral Commission opened nominations for the presidential and parliamentary election. So far, 8 people, including Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and former President John Dramani Mahama, have submitted their nomination. Dr. Asante Otre has been speaking to Star News.
Certainly, they are wasting their time. I mean, if the party in government, Dr. Bawumia, whenever he speaks, is attacking Mr. Mahama, then it means that is his main target. You can realize that. As long as these political parties don't have any structures in place, they're just wasting their time and their little resource. It is much ado about nothing. In as much as we may not be so happy about the duopoly, we still have the democratic process and the internal structures to check the excesses and the kinds of things that these two main political parties within that we really don't like. I pray that we'll be able to implement the Constitutional Review Commission's report. And once that is done, I think that we'll be making a headway in our democracy and ensure that the presidency is not that too powerful. Other than that, we'll get to a point where, some people will be compelled to either stage a civil insurrection or some.
Should be much less than Nyayehu. Enti yane omo ego so kasa. I think omankasa omso be clean as much as they can. Enti yeso de ya documenting Nyayehu nyina nya de beko akoma omo. Say na be ya they can clean it and make sure that we have a credible register. Enti eno eka ho. But aside from that also, yebepe say yebehu say buying ball on election day neutral. Yempese yade niesiwa yawaso west wogon aban ewon crofobia omo training omo omo sheda nye bambofo and so edanu dru ha omo timi the uniform she omo to say ayawaso west wogon niesi ye no yebusa IGP say